All right, joining me now is Dr. Lana. We're going to start doing some health segments with her about once a week per our schedules, but we're sure going to give it the old college try. I want to play first a video of RFK Jr., a video he put out this week. Let's talk about some of the progress he's making and some other news stories as well. Here's RFK Jr.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'm the Secretary for the Department of Health and Human Services. In the final months of the election, President Trump repeatedly called for removing toxins from our food supply. He added his voice to the millions of Maha moms who were touting the Make America Healthy Again agenda. The first step is radical transparency, because right now, not even the U.S. government knows what's in our food. In 1958, the government created a designation called Generally Recognized as Safe, or GRAS, so that we can make common ingredients like salt and baking soda exempt from testing. But today, it isn't just salt and baking soda. Food companies and cooperative regulators have enlarged the GRAS exemption so that these companies can decide for themselves whether a substance is generally recognized as safe. No FDA approval is needed. European nations, on the other hand, require that a chemical be proven safe before it becomes a food ingredient. In our country, the GRAS standard means that every chemical is presumed safe until proven dangerous, and that proof might not happen until millions of Americans are sick with chronic disease. This mass experiment on the American population with GRAS has, in short, been a catastrophe. We now have around 10,000 chemicals in our food, while Europe has only 400. For example, titanium dioxide, potentially linked to DNA damage and cancer, is banned in the EU, but it's in our children's food. Potassium bromate, a suspected carcinogen, banned in Europe and Japan. And you guessed it, it's in our children's bread. Food dyes such as red dye 40 and yellow 5 and 6 come with warning labels in Europe. They're linked to behavioral issues in children, but in the US, they're generally recognized as safe. I can't really blame the food companies. They're just doing what we've allowed them to get away with in a system that's taken on a life of its own. We all agree now that it's time to change the system, and that's exactly what we're going to do. I am today directing the FDA commissioner to start the process of changing the rules to eliminate the self-affirming GRAS pathway for new ingredients. I'm also directing the FDA and NIH to ramp up post-market assessments of GRAS chemicals currently in our food so that we can rapidly identify the compounds that are making Americans so sick, and so that American consumers and regulators can make informed decisions.
All right, let's hold it right there. Wow. Think about all the government regulation that we all have to deal with, right? I mean, there's so much government regulation and so many things we have to comply with, the average citizen. Just from a tax situation alone, I have to have an employee or person working with us probably 20 hours a week just to comply with all the regulations from the IRS, right? And then I have to have an accountant and a tax attorney. And I think, and I was looking at my bills the other day, and I'm thinking, I got all these regulations I've got to comply with, but yet humongous corporations that make billions of dollars, they get a free pass, no regulation, and yet toxins are going into the food that may be killing us, causing cancer and other neurological problems. And I am so thankful for RFK Jr. in this video. What say you?
Oh, absolutely. Thank God for him. And you know what, Brandon, I have patient after patient, and it comes back to when I listen to their symptoms, and it can be a diagnosis where they have to put their life on hold and their health becomes their number one priority, or it could be something like blood sugar or cholesterol or, things that are more common. And when I explain that it's not their fault, they're so relieved, because the toxic load today is unlike anything we've ever seen in the history of mankind. It's why our children are becoming the fastest growing obese population in this country. It's why 75% of the people are walking around overweight, and 86% of the doctor's visits are for chronic degenerative diseases that are reversible. And once you start removing the toxins from someone's body and you start giving them nutrition that can finally get in their cells, they start to feel better. Their symptoms go away and they get healthier because their body can balance. This toxic load that's in our food has been unchecked for decades. And finally, it's going to be put under the microscope. And every mom, every dad, every person that I've talked to since he became the secretary in the Trump administration is just thrilled. It's just absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, I bet they are. And now we're also hearing that, here it is right here, after meeting with CEOs of top infant formula manufacturers today, Secretary Kennedy and the U.S. FDA announced Operation Stork Speed to expand options for safe, reliable, and nutritious infant formula for American families. I mean, why would any company produce formula for children that wasn't safe? I mean, these people aren't stupid. They know what the ingredients are going into their product. They have scientists that can look under a microscope and evaluate what's going on. I mean, is it greed? You know, money is not the root of all evil, the love of money. But the fact is you got to call the heads of CEOs of top infant formula manufacturers in to have a conversation, it's just ridiculous. I mean, not ridiculous on RFK's part. It's ridiculous on the manufacturer's part. Why do people just not have common sense and sensitivity toward mothers and children that are just trying to do their best and raise a healthy child?
I educate so many expectant moms, like grandmothers and moms, mother-daughter teams, moms that have just had babies or moms that are soon to deliver, about how to talk with the pediatricians, how to talk with the hospital staff. I empower them so they know they're in charge. They're in charge of their body. They're in charge of their baby, their unborn baby, their newborn baby. The doctors and the hospital staff are not in charge. And so many innocent moms that have just delivered, maybe, they're tired and they have a new baby. And so maybe the initial steps to breastfeed have not been so easy for that woman, and nobody's worked with her. So she's like, oh, I'll just do the formula, because they are bombarded in the hospitals with hospital staff saying, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. Here's the formula. And you think you're giving this right to an infant, that it's healthy and it's safe. You're absolutely right. This ingredient list that is in infant formula is jaw-dropping. It is so upsetting. And it's not the mom's fault. It's not the parent's fault. This is what's gone on for years and years and years. It's gone unchecked. And you innocently hear about the babies that they have colic and they're not sleeping. And then this goes on for months and months. And then that baby who becomes a toddler is put on more pharmaceutical drugs because they're not sleeping and they're crying and then they're misbehaving. And it moves that new baby to a toddler and then a kindergartner and a first grader that is now a customer in the medical industry, because they started on that baby formula that was full of really unsafe, unhealthy ingredients. It's unbelievable. In our country that this has gone on for years.
Yep, it's ridiculous. And I think it comes down to greed. What do you think it comes down to?
No, absolutely. And you could put fillers and all kind of other ingredients in infant formula and just, increase the profitability. And then you play on the mother's emotions, and instead of educating and empowering her, and if there is a scenario for whatever reason, that mom doesn't want to breastfeed or can't or what have you, that when she chooses a formula, it is completely safe for her infant. It's terrible.
Let's talk a little bit about what, the Roundup and Glyphosate and all that kind of stuff, right? So my wife has really bad gluten allergies, right? I have a twin sister that has celiac disease. Goes from gluten allergies to celiac disease, full blown, right? Logan just today said, I've got this rash on my side that won't quit itching. He says it to his mother, and I'm standing there, and she's like, well, let me see it. And she says, Logan, That's gluten allergy. That's exactly what I had forever. If you get a hold of any gluten, you start itching. You can't quit. You can't quit. You can't quit. So obviously some of this has got to be hereditary or something. I don't know what, or maybe, again, he's just gotten into too much Roundup or, glyphosate in the food. But he's having the same, or he has the same sensitivity as his mother has. Because, see, I don't have this sensitivity. She does. She can be very sensitive to a lot of different things. We have to be very careful with what she gets a hold of. But now he's got this rash and it's driving him nuts. And she just informed him, well, this is what I had. You likely have a gluten allergy. Now, I understand that people go over to Europe that have this problem and eat bread and they don't break out in a rash and start scratching. Is this true or is that made up?
Oh, absolutely. It's true. And your wife is so spot on, so intelligent and savvy as always, Melissa is. And, I'm a digestive health specialist. So issues of the skin stem from the gut, everyone. It's from an unbalanced gut microbiome. So you need a really good pro and prebiotic. And you're right, you have to back away from the gluten. And it is because you brought up a great point about the United States and Europe. We are glyphosate, Roundup, weed killer, that pesticide has been sprayed all over food in many countries since the 1970s. You can't wash glyphosate off your food. You can't cook glyphosate out of your food. It gets in the cells of the food. So it's really pervasive and it absolutely causes unbalanced gut microbiome. You need a really good, like I said, pro and prebiotic, and you've got to stay away from the gluten. However, it's sprayed on a lot of other foods. And you go over to Europe, and this is a personal story. My daughter was blessed to be in Europe 2 years ago on an architecture trip with the university. And she said, Mom, I can eat this, I can eat that, and I feel great. And she walked around, she was in 15 cities and 5 countries and never had a gut issue, not bloat, not itchy skin, nothing, because there is a completely different set of rules for the food that their people are eating, that the Europeans are eating, versus the set of rules that are laid out in the United States for Americans. And it is absolutely a fact.
Well, we just heard from
even
RFK.
though the glyphosate sprayed, in Europe, their strict rules about food ingredients keep them safer and they don't have adverse reactions when they eat.
RFK Jr., did we just hear him say in that video, we have like 10,000 ingredients in our food that shouldn't be there, and over in Europe they only have 400 of those. So
right.
they've gotten rid of, what is that, 9,600, and only have 400 that they still, I guess, need to work on. We have all 10,000 in our food that should be gotten rid of.
And the war on cancer has been a miserable failure. President Nixon started the war on cancer in the 1970s. It has been a miserable failure, and we are the wealthiest. We're the leaders of the free world, right? This is the United States of America. It's really unbelievable if you sit back and think about it. We are the sickest nation. Our children are sicker than other children on earth. It's really
well, there's no desire, in my opinion, there's no desire to cure cancer by most of these groups. Why would you cure something that makes you so much money? Why would you cure something when you get paid to study to cure it? I mean, how long have they been studying how to cure cancer? And I don't know that we're any better now than we were 20 years ago, but a lot of people sure make money studying cancer, I think, and make a lot of money treating cancer. And yet, I'm going to go to this article headline because we showed this the other day. This is July 6, 2005. July 6, 2005. And this is Tom Harper. Man figures plankton stopped his rare cancer. We talked about this. Now, you can talk about this. You can talk about glutathione. You can talk about all kinds of things that you can do to help use food as medicine. And yet, most doctors don't talk about this. They don't even know about it. They don't study nutrition, but maybe 1 or 2 days in medical school. Everything else is, prescribe a pill. So we got more of a response from our viewers than anything else you and I have ever discussed. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why, because we're not making any health claims. We're not saying it's the Glutathione. We're not saying the Glutathione that you can get on Melissa's site. We're not saying this heals anything. What happened was Tom Harper 20 years ago, just intuitively, he had mesothelioma, deadly lung cancer, was given weeks to live, and he just intuitively started to eat the phytoplankton out of his fish tanks because he fed the phytoplankton to his shellfish. He was a shellfish farmer in the Pacific Northwest in Vancouver Island. And when he went in for the surgery, the talc treatment to really help prolong his life, after eating this for weeks, just about a teaspoon, he ate every day intuitively, and it wasn't this, it was literally the phytoplankton out of the tank. The surgeon came out of the operating room and told his family, I have not ever seen anything like it. We sent 11 sites to pathology, and your father's tumor sites they're benign. The cancer is benign. And Tom Harper lived for years. He retired in Hawaii. We're not making any claims. And so you can look up the newspaper article.
In fact, here he is in his own words. This is what we played, and you got swamped, you told us, with bigger response than anything. All right?
Absolutely.
Here it is. Here it is.
Started on a daily routine of just taking a bit of paste, putting it in my mouth, and wash it down with a drink of water, and go about my daily business, what I could do. And within about 10 to 15 days, here I am, starting less pain in my back. I knew that something was going on, so I just kept eating half a teaspoon of this paste a day. I was booked to go for surgery in Victoria, where they're going to do what they call a talc treatment, and they take a medical grade talking powder, they introduce it into between your lungs and your pleural lining, and keep you in the hospital for a few days. And that there causes your lungs to fuse together, and it stops you from drowning in your own fluids that are built up.
The head surgeon came out and had a very odd look on his face. I said to my mom, oh my God, something's happened. My dad's died. And I was just shaking and panicking. And the surgeon came up to me and he said, I don't know what's going on here, but there's a strange foreign white substance covering your dad's tumors in his lungs, and we've never seen anything like it before.
Well, lo and behold, they went in there to have a look, saw something they never seen before, took 11 sites, sent them away for biopsy, and I got the news back. Everything was benign. They just did not know what to make of it. Everything was absolutely clean. Well, the surgeons are saying that they don't know what I had. They don't know if what I created and am taking had any effect on the cancer. All they can tell me is they've never seen what they saw inside of me, and I attribute this to my algae. I fully believe that with all my heart. I do moderate exercise every day. I watch what I eat. I lead a very normal life. And as a bonus, I've lost weight and I've tried dieting all my life because I'm a diabetic, or I was a diabetic. If it's a coincidence or not, I don't know. But anyway, my blood sugar started dropping. My weight started falling off. And I ended up probably within about a 6-month period, here I am no longer requiring insulin, and I was taking 88 units a day of insulin. And I now can eat just about what I want in moderation, and I have no elevated sugar levels, and I feel fabulous.
The potential benefits.
So he went on to eventually retire, live another 10 years in Hawaii, right?
Absolutely. Lived a long life, retired in Hawaii. And, it makes so much sense because people, you hear the word cancer and they want you to be instilled with fear. Cancer is nothing. I do crucial care consultations all the time. I study with 2 of the foremost cancer experts in the world. And I can tell you all that cancer is nothing but a profound failure of the immune system. And what happened with Tom Harper is the phytoplankton is microscopic. It's God's microscopic microscopic food. I mean, the Glutathione is the most nutritionally comprehensive strain of phytoplankton in the world. David Hunter studied phytoplankton for 20 years because he worked for Tom Harper and he was there in person and witnessed Tom's recovery. So it's about getting pure nutrition inside your cells to fuel your mitochondria. And what happens, your body balances again or goes back to homeostasis. And when your body is pH balanced or in homeostasis, disease can't grow. So Tom Harper just went back intuitively to eating like God's perfect microscopic food. And there's no contraindications at all with the Glutathione, with the phytoplankton. It is literally microscopic, pure single-cell plant food with protein and omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6 fatty acids, with amino acids and vitamins and minerals. We have so many symptoms, Brandon and anyone, because we are deficient in trace minerals. This is full of trace minerals. And I help people with specific protocols with this, but the average bear, let me tell you, can take, 1 scoop a day. There's 90 billion plant cells in here, just for everyday nutrition and energy and, cognitive support, because this is God's pure nutrition. So anyone can take it, but I do consultations for more specific, protocols, but it has been a jaw-dropping story. So much so, David Hunter, who runs Global Phytoplankton Alliance, he dedicated his entire life to studying phytoplankton because he was there 20 years ago and worked for Tom Harper at that sea farm. And he witnessed people coming in droves to get that phytoplankton after that newspaper article. And then he developed, the Glutathione and sold it for 12 years in Canada. And hundreds of thousands of human beings in Canada took this for 12 years. And as God would have it, he saw me. I did a talk. We met months ago, and he said, we have got to get this Glutathione in the United States of America. Hey, Lana, Dr. Lana, will you help me do that? And I said, I would be honored. This is God's food. So that's the story there. And we're here
and
with
when
you.
when people saw this, they flooded you. What were they asking? You said you got more response from the last time we talked about that than anything else we've ever done. What were they asking you?
They were, first of all, they were like, okay, I saw you on Brandon, and where do I go? And I was sending messages, MelissaHowe'sGPA.com, MelissaHowe'sGPA.com. And I said, listen, they wanted to know, first of all, I know a lot of people innocently, will this help my blood sugar? Will this help my high blood pressure? Will this help my high cholesterol? We can't make claims on specific diseases, but they were all saying so-and-so was diagnosed with this cancer or that cancer. It was a family member or themselves diagnosed with this or that type of cancer. And they were so curious to know how they could take steps naturally to help that. So without making any health claims, I explained to them really giving a summary of what I just said of when you can get pure nutrition, here's the kicker, inside the cell membrane to fuel your mitochondria, which is the battery of your cells, then the body can start to operate normally and start to go into balance, and disease will not grow. And this Glutathione, my friends, is 1.2 microns, and that may not mean anything to you, but a human cell is about 10 to 40 microns. Okay, so you can certainly fit 1.2 gallons of water in a 10 to 40 empty gallon tank, right? So this is 1.2 microns, and your cells are about 10 to 40 microns. This gets inside your cells. So you're getting God's pure, comprehensive nutrition inside your cells. So your cells can start to function optimally, and the body goes back to homeostasis and fights disease. So I wanted to know what to do.
Melissa brings it to me almost every night at the desk. Dolly takes it, okay, half a scoop a day on her food, half a scoop for her. So now that I've been sitting here drinking this, tell our audience what's going on right now. Now that I've taken this, what's going on in my body right now due to this? What's happening?
In seconds, comprehensive nutrition. I said amino acids, trace minerals, vitamins, omega-3 fatty acids, protein is quickly going in through your bloodstream, in through your cell membranes, inside your cells to basically bathe the inside of your cells and bathe the battery powerhouse of your cells with really God's perfect nutrition. So now the cells are like, I have energy. I can make energy. I can fight illness. I can fight disease. I can help fuel your brain. I can help filter your liver. I can help every cell in your body from head to toe begin to function normally. And guess what? Here's the beautiful thing. There's no contraindications. There is no contraindications like this because this is food. This is microscopic, pure, unadulterated food. Man did not make this. Now, David Hunter's company dried it and powdered it so we could consume it, but nothing is added to this. This is just like it is grown in pure, beautiful seawater, filtered seawater, off the coast of Spain, sent over here to the United States, put together in this, container so we can consume it. But you don't have to worry about a thing. If you're on medication, you're not on medication. If you are older, this is great. If you have aging parents, this is great. If you work out and you're an athlete, it's great. If you're a first responder, you're a busy parent, or you're a busy professional. And I can say this as a mom, I have to legally say, in the United States, you have to tell everybody they need to be over 18 to take anything. Talking as a mom, now, my daughter's in grad school. She doesn't miss a day of this. Sometimes she'll take it twice a day if she has a busy project at school, at the university. If I had a child, this is me speaking as a mom, not as a doctor. If I had a child going to kindergarten or going to first grade, let me tell you something. I would hide this in a little plant-based yogurt or a little, whatever they like to eat in the morning, a scoop of their, oatmeal and play a little game with it. Put it in a couple ounces of coconut water or something that tastes good like that bay, low sugar, blueberry water, raspberry water. And I'd play a game with them. So they shot it down in a couple ounces of coconut water or low sugar, bays, blueberry water, what have you, every single day before they went to school. That's me as a mom. My daughter's an adult, but I can tell you she never, ever misses a day of it. I have not ever seen people respond like this after that show, Brandon. They're like, I have this, or my spouse or my brother or my sister is diagnosed with this, how can this help? That was the number one question. And it helps balance the body again. It pulls the body back into homeostasis because you're feeding the inside of your cells, you're feeding the mitochondria with pure, pristine, clean, plant-based nutrition.
Wow. So Melissa House, what happened, guys? Melissa House, GPA.com, MelissaHouseGPA.com. Get a subscription, folks. Get a subscription so you don't have to worry about it not showing up. And by the way, I do give half a scoop every morning on her food. Dolly gets a half a scoop of this. Logan, can you ask your mom what kind of food I have Dolly on right now, will you? Ask her what I've taken, she's 10 months old. Let's go to the Dolly cam. She's 10 months old, and I've had, she's lab number 6. Lab number 6. You just saw her jumping up on me a while ago. And I don't want her getting cancer. Most of my labs die of cancer. And so I'm putting half a scoop on her food. She gets pumpkin. She gets pumpkin every day. She knows the word pumpkin. Every morning I sit at my desk and I have a cup of coffee. And then my wife will bring me a banana with peanut butter. And Dolly and I share a banana and peanut butter every morning. It's a routine. She sits right there at my feet under my desk. And we have our morning banana and peanut butter while I drink my coffee and read the news. And she, as I said, she gets some pumpkin and she gets her Glutathione. Now, I had her on a puppy food, Red Diamond puppy food, which was about the best we could find, we thought, for what she needs as a puppy. But we've now moved her off of that and onto a vegan dog food that Melissa and another lady have researched extensively. And she has an older dog, And once they got their older dog on this vegan food a couple years ago, the dog like popped up. You know, it is older. It's doing amazing. So I've now got Dolly on this vegan food, and then the audience is going to ask us what it is. So I'm trying to find out from Logan. But I put that half a scoop of Glutathione on her food every morning. So that's what I'm doing to try to give her the antioxidants to fight, you know, the free radicals. And we know what the free radicals do.
I'll tell you a quick story, everyone, a dog story about Glutathione. Total story, so not making any claims, and I'm not a veterinarian, as you know, but I worked with a man who had a boxer, and it wasn't that old, and the boxer had malignant tumors throughout his body. And you're right, animals die cancer like humans do. It's terrible. And so what this man did, and he told me in his own words, he put a whole scoop every day of Glutathione sprinkled on his dog's food. Now, mind you, the dog had malignant tumors. So a whole scoop of Glutathione every single day, because you know how much you love your pets. And that dog today, 14 months later, is running around without malignant tumors. And it's just an innocent dog story, but that is exactly what he told me in his own words, a scoop of actual Glutathione every single day, and he still does. And it was because the dog had to make health. He had to make his dog's health number one priority. I've heard story after story. I have a friend, a patient's adult daughter, her 18-year-old terrier was dying in her arms, and the vet wanted to put it down. And she said no. She just intuitively, she says, no, I'm taking my dog home. And the vet thought she was crazy. And she took a syringe, and I'll tell you, true story. She filled the syringe up with glutathione swish and a scoop of Glutathione.
Wow.
And gave it to her 18-month-old terrier. And she gave it the glutathione every hour on the hour that first day. But once a day, that little terrier gets a scoop of regular Glutathione because it's 18 years old. Do you know that was 4.5 months ago? That 18-year-old terrier, it was dying of end-stage acute kidney failure. That little 18-year-old terrier, Brandon, it is running around her yard. It's gained 2 pounds. She says, I don't know what I'm going to do with him. Like, he's running around the yard. He's eating like a pig. And she saved her dog's life with a syringe of the glutathione swish every hour. And one time during the day, it was a scoop of regular Glutathione because of the dog's age. And the dog
absolutely believe it. Absolutely believe it. Now, I want to go to something else real quick that might fascinate the audience, and I get to play a video of my granddaughter. Now, you know my daughter. You and I have talked about what my daughter was eating while she was pregnant, right?
I don't remember those details.
Oh, really? Okay. Who was it I was interviewing, Logan? We were talking about all the things that Libby was taking. But anyway, here's what she was taking when she was pregnant with my granddaughter. At least 4 pasteurized organic eggs a day, salmon and omega-3 on top of the prenatal. These are pasteurized, raised organic eggs, wild salmon. Both eggs and the salmon have tons of DHA and choline, and I don't know if that means choline or collagen, in them for the brain development. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts there?
Well, while you're pregnant and you want to make sure it's like wild caught, so she was absolutely on the right highway of eating.
And I think the word is choline, CHOLINE, is that right?
Yes, choline for the brain. Right. Okay. Right. You need that to make the brain start to function and
cognitive function, and potentially protecting against neural tube defects by contributing to proper cell membrane formation and neurotransmitter production. Most pregnant women do not get enough of this. My daughter was texting me.
Yes, and they need, pregnant women, for the choline, you need B12, B12, and B vitamins. There is B12, trace minerals. I'm telling you, she was on task there. B12 is extremely important to prevent neural tube defects and all of that, spinal cord defects, neural defects of the brain for the baby. So omega-3s and honestly, I would, if I was again a mom and I was expecting, there's not a day that I wouldn't take the Glutathione. It's nutrition. There's not a day that I would do the glutathione as well. And your omega-3s, you've got to have that for. And again, I'm not telling any expectant moms what to do, but I'm saying if I was pregnant again, that's exactly what I would do.
So my granddaughter's 8 months old. 8 months old. Okay? Not 2 years, not a year and a half, 8 months old. Are you ready for this video to see what my granddaughter is doing this week?
I can't wait.
Okay, here we go. Okay. My wife's like, Brandon, 8-month-old babies don't usually sit up like that and use both hands like that at 8 months.
No.
So I don't know. Maybe she's just, a prodigy. I don't know. But my daughter says that she has friends that have children this age. They don't do squat. And this child has been trying to roll over so early, lift her head up so early, doing everything advanced, pulling up on the side of the crib and standing up, crawling, going to be walking soon, doing everything way ahead of schedule. When she gets together with other people with like children, she's like, their kids just lay there. And my daughter is trying to interact with them and they're like oblivious. And she's like, my daughter is not at the same level as kids her own age. And my wife, has had 3 children and medical social worker background. So she's been around a lot of children. And she said, this is not typical of 8-month-old children. I mean, I don't know. This is not my area of expertise. My daughter's convinced that it has to do with all the things she was doing because she was trying for brain and neurological development while she was pregnant. She thinks this is largely due to that. What say you?
No, absolutely. And the omega 3 is huge. B12 is huge, and the organic eggs, and absolutely. No, it's really important. And we hopefully with RFK Jr. circling back there, that we educate women that want to get pregnant, women that are trying to get pregnant, women that are pregnant. And it actually, I'll tell you, your daughter was so savvy as well. I'm not surprised. So God bless. But I will share with you, and a lot of people are so surprised. Ladies, young couples out there in America that want to start a family, it is most important before you get pregnant to get your nutrition right. So all of you mothers and mother-in-laws out there that want grandchildren, and fathers and father-in-laws, I am telling you, you're right. If you've got organic eggs, in your diet, whole food, whole vegetables, whole fruits, oh my word, start on, your Glutathione and your glutathione. It starts before you get pregnant. Your nutrition is actually most important then. And what Brandon's daughter did is so smart. She focused on the brain and the glutathione. Absolutely. Your liver and your brain desperately need glutathione. And we start losing glutathione at age 20. And you have 5G is taking away our glutathione. Pesticides are taking away our glutathione. Forever chemicals in our cookware and clothes are taking away and lowering our glutathione. This is the fastest, most affordable way to put glutathione back in your cells every single day. I always say that these aren't supplements. They're a necessity. It's not another supplement. It's literally a necessity for life.
Now we switched over to, guys, you want to put that lower third up there, swishforlife.com. Put that one up there if you would. And then let's go back to that graphic. So glutathione benefits, it increases energy, slows down the aging process. Hello, I like that one. Reduces muscle and joint discomfort, strengthens your immune system, detoxes the liver and cells, improves mental focus and clarity, improves quality of sleep, reduces the effects of stress, improves the skin and athletic performance and recovery. Can I tell you, Dr. Lana, as we get ready to wrap here, my wife is susceptible to sinus infections. She fights a sinus infection about 2 or 3 times a year. So she has this puffiness under her eye this week and this swollenness under her eye from her sinuses, right? got really bad headache. He's feeling not very well at all. But I said, well, you know what Dr. Lana says? If you're sick, swish every hour on the hour. So she started swishing with the glutathione big time.
Yeah.
And in the course of 24 hours, swelling went down, pain went away. And she said, I have no other answer for that than the glutathione. She said, do you really think that's what it was? I said, well, it detoxes your cell and fights infection, I think. So sometimes when she gets these, she has to go and get on one of our antibiotics from the wellness company. We keep antibiotics on hand through the wellness company. And so she have to crack out the kit and get on an antibiotic to get rid of it. Not this time. She did the glutathione just routinely throughout the day.
I tell everybody, get a Sharpie pen and write the date that you received it on the bottom. And you've got to have 2 bottles per person on the shelf for your family. I call it New Me 911. If you get a cold, if you get a virus, if you get the flu, if you get a sinus infection, bad headaches, you need the plastic cap, one of these every hour on the hour. Just swish 3 to 4 minutes. You can spit it out. Every hour on the hour that you're awake for a couple of days, you are going to go through a couple of bottles. But you take it down off your shelf and then you consume those, but you always have 2 extra in case somebody in your family gets sick. And you just keep taking those down and consume them. When you get the new bottle, you write the date and you put those on the shelf, take the old ones down. The shelf life on this unopened is 2 years. So you can keep them sealed for 2 years and you just keep rotating them, but you always have 2 extra bottles in case somebody gets sick, because you're going to take a capful, swish 3 to 4 minutes every hour on the hour for a couple of days if you get sick. Absolutely. It is the biggest, best secret, and it's God's molecule as well. We are losing glutathione every day, and this is the fastest way to put it back in your body.
Amazing. All right, let me ask you this in closing, Doc. I am prone to canker sores on the back of my tongue. And there are nights on television, I don't mention it. There are nights on television where talking hurts so bad. It just hurts to talk. It takes energy to talk. It hurts so bad because my canker sores are so bad on the back of my tongue or under my tongue. And so I started swishing with the glutathione as soon as I feel one coming on, and generally it's been knocking them out before they get to the point where they're so bad that they get those big old white crater. You put alum on it. You know what alum, like you pickle pickles with, on it. It burns like a son of a gun, but it knocks it down. But when I feel them coming on, I swish more with this. Any thoughts on why am I prone to such bad canker sores?
You've probably got a little acidity, so you want more greens. You want more vegetables. You want to lean more plant-based. I don't want to say vegan like the dog food, but I can see why those dogs were getting healthier and healthier, because too much animal protein. It's not that we have to be vegan, but too much animal protein. Protein from animals is hard to break down, and it creates an acidic environment in the body. It's tough on the kidneys, tough on our blood vessels. So if you can do more dinners that are plant-based, and maybe like 3 dinners or 4 dinners with your animal protein, and more lunches and dinners that are plant-based, that also helps balance your pH. More greens, more plants, more whole foods, and just kind of pull back a little bit of the animal protein. And maybe next time I'll tell you a story of unbelievable brain health with the New Me glutathione and the neuro product. I'm certified at the American Brain Council and work with the director of education there. And I talked to a lady yesterday after patients that has just, it's an unbelievable story of her adult daughter that basically came home to die at Christmas time. And here it is in, March of 2025. And it is a jaw-dropping story that involved, the New Me glutathione and the New Me neuro swish. But yes, so you'll help balance your body with a little more plants and a little bit less animals, Brandon.
There you go. All right. Squishforlife.com, melissahouseGPA.com. You'll find it all at worldviewtube.com/sponsors. And as always, Doc, your website is inspiredbywellness.com. We're looking forward to having you as a keynote speaker at our national conference coming up this October here in the Mid-South.
I cannot wait. It will be my honor to be there.
Looking forward to having you. Dr. Lana checking in, folks. Again, check out all these products at worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Great way to support us and your health at the same time. Go to the Dolly Cam. This is fully Dolly approved, and you can tell she's extremely excited about this broadcast tonight. Extremely excited, very enthusiastic about this topic. Give it a minute. She'll wake up and she'll come right back to life and be trying to chew up my calendar like she did the other night. Well, there you go. All right, folks, what a broadcast tonight, full of content. And we'll, of course, we'll put it all up for you at worldviewtube.com tomorrow, worldviewtube.com. Let me take you over here. Go to Worldview Times, or you can just go under news. We have Worldview Radio, Worldview Tube, Worldview Times. Here is, folks, an article, The Trojan Horse Within Christian Media. We are turning so many of these shows into great articles, and I hope you'll check them out. Send them around to your family and friends. And by the way, go to worldviewstore.com and get your pack of 20 business cards. How many thousands of these have gone out now, Caleb? What are we on? We're over 9,000 now? Over 9,000 of these business cards have now gone out. So check that out. Worldviewstore.com. Get your pack of 20 absolutely free. Help us grow. We grow, we get more people informed, we get more donors, and many hands make light work, right? So if you're like, I really want to see more people watch and support him, because if we get more people to watch, I think more people will support what he's doing, and then it'll all be taken care of. So you're right. So we want to inform a lot of people, educate a lot of people. It's a battle for hearts and minds. Those people come on board, they watch, they're like, I like what this network's doing. Let me help out. That brings in more people that are educated, but also more people that can support us. So again, many hands make light work. So everybody wins as we keep this network going 24/7. So get your free packet of business cards free to pass out, and then you run out, get another pack of 20. Worldviewstore.com. Roll the music. Let's call it a night. What do you think, Dolly? Are you ready to call it a night? I don't know. You're not going to jump up on me tonight, are you? You want to come here and say goodnight to everybody? Come on up. Come on up. You want to come up? Come on. What are you being so shy about? You're not even going to come up here. I got business cards. You love to chew on the business cards. You're not even coming up tonight, are you? Well, she's being very timid. All right. Well, there you go. What a show. Don't forget, we're coming to Milwaukee, April 15th. Full details at worldviewtube.com/events. It's free, brought to you by our foundation. We'll take an offering to offset all the costs of bringing in the speakers and renting the building. It's free, but you got to have a ticket. worldviewtube.com/events, worldviewtube.com/events. All right? Spread the word about that. Let's have as many people there as possible. Haven't done a Worldview Weekend Rally in 7 years, so let's pack it out, all right? Hey, thanks for watching. Till next time, I'm Brandon House. May God save America. Take care. We're not changing courses now. We are who we are. We're committed to the truth that we are committed to. Worldview Tube is a broadcast network that I started in 2006, but it's based on my 35 years as an author and speaker and commentator. Worldview Tube is here to defend the truth of a Christian worldview. And we believe we can apply it to all areas of life, like law, science, economics, history, family, social issues, education, religion, major issues.
At worldviewtube.com, we provide news from around the globe that isn't typically covered by mainstream media. Visit worldviewtube.com to watch our experts and analysts discuss all your favorite topics on our 24/7 live stream. Explore our extensive collection of unfiltered and uncensored content from 35 years of production. Go to worldviewtube.com today. Also find us